law enforcement authorities really did drag their feet when it came to investigating, this very high-profile matter. I mean, when you look at the timelines, since the escape on the 3rd of May 2022, it was only a task team that was, it was only until the 24th of March that a police task team was then launched. After that, a ground-up investigation story came out where Bester was then, essentially hunted. We know that in August of 2022, an investigation by the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services found that Bester likely escaped. And then in October of 2022, the South African Police Services reached the same conclusion. And yet still nothing happened up until what we are currently seeing now. You know the system very well. Why is it broken?
Well, it's not as if they don't know. The regional commissioner in the Free State province know about this matter. The minister, the deputy minister, the Judicial Inspectorate on Prisons, members of the Portfolio Committee on Correctional Services, Abo Bulelani, Raja, Azikani, Abo Framono, Abo S. Tonjeni. We've created a WhatsApp group for the minister, and we see that they don't read some of these texts. These videos we send them. This matter, if my memory serves me well, I can remember vividly that we were informed by our members, followers, and supporters at that particular prison that there was a fire, somebody committed suicide, the section is under lockdown, there is a lot of activities and so on. I don't have all the finer details, but now I recall because it now makes sense. And that information we've sent to these people whom some of them don't even read our WhatsApps or the WhatsApps that I send and WhatsApps that we've created amongst other fellow inmates. And if they read those WhatsApps and watched the videos and the texts, they should have acted a long time ago. But I can assure you, the intention was to bury this thing and keep it undercover for as long as possible. It's not as if they don't know nothing. They know everything. That is why we as an organization are very critical. We should have started on top there, climbed the ladder to get to the bottom of this matter.
Just talking about the ins of prisons, you've been there, you know the system. Breitenbach yesterday in questioning G4S, officials saying that it must point out that along the line, somebody's palms were greased.
Yes.
Who benefits from this grand escape? And is it possible that 3 officials from inside the prison who were suspended and then fired, one now arrested for murder, is it possible that they could have orchestrated this entire thing?
All by themselves?
All by themselves from inside the prison. Are we looking at higher personnel, higher officials, particularly if you look at that center itself, Mangaung, center? We know that it is a correctional center that is under private partnership with government, of course.
Look, when money talks, greed listens. We do not even know up to today who's the owner of the morgue where these corpses were collected. We do not know who assisted removing the corpse from the fridges into a boot of a car right up to Mango. We don't know those things. And until such time, we make sure that there is an independent judicial commission of inquiry with all of these other high-profile people being put on paid or unpaid suspension. We might let this thing fall along the cracks. You see, for as long as community don't want to get involved and wait until the SHIT hits the fan and then cause this national brouhaha, this thing is going to happen all over again. I mean, as an organization that has been around 32 years after my imprisonment, we still do not have recognition agreement, we still are not accepted, and we still are not allowed to go into these institutions. And the organization was established for the purpose to make sure that this decadence and bravado does not happen in our prisons and turn our correctional center and the criminal justice system and the country into a laughingstock of the world.
For every prison escape, G4S is liable up to more than R1 million. How much of the so-called cover-up do you think had to do with that liability? I mean, initially we thought, that the man, or we heard that officials thought that the man who had actually died and burnt inside that cell 35 was Thabo Bester. Thabo Bester, who was measured coming into the prison at 1.7 meters. We later learned that the body was actually 1.4 meters. To what extent would that liability have withheld information to authorities, do you think?
Look, that is how they undermine the integrity, the intellectual and academic integrity of the people of this country. I mean, we've heard a lot of other things, you know, like you have a swimming pool for a fire pool, and we must believe that. You heard somebody escape from CMEX using Vaseline. You heard all the other things because they got away with it some times ago, and surely they wanted to get away with this time. If it was not ground up, I can assure you, this matter was going to just die away. And by the way, we still do not understand why did this chap wanted to escape from prison. Escape and go where? He can go, he should have gone anywhere in the world. He was going to be brought back to South Africa unless he wanted to escape and end up in Jupiter or Mars, not even the moon, because human beings are trafficking the moon.
Well, in fact, he was so brazen after his escape. We understand, of course, that they hid out in a Sandton mansion for several months before that ground-up investigation. That's when they then attempted to escape the country. So, to your point, I don't really know if they were escaping, from anyone. But let's talk now about Thabo Bester. Now that he has escaped prison, of course, facilitated and helped by others, he's now brought back to the confines of the correctional center, but now he's taken to a CMEX prison in Pretoria, Kgosi Mampuru II Correctional Center. Talk to us about what's likely to happen around, just his protection, from law enforcement authorities. What are you expecting?
Well, I hope it doesn't get the Vaseline that resulted into this guy escaping, the late Ananias Mate. He is at Ebongweni CMEX, Kgosi Mampuru II. He will be guarded 24 hours a day. And he will be assaulted and abused, and he will be brutalized like Radovan creature, because he is there and he has embarrassed this department to an extent that they will do whatever they want to do with him. Now, we as an organization has been crying for 32 years after my imprisonment to get a recognition and procedural agreement. And this was never going to happen if we were allowed. And there are many of us that are kept away from this department so that this department must keep on running like a glorified Bantustan. In the past, it used to be run like a glorified Volksstaiki, where the Afrikaners said, it's my prison, it's my prisoners, everything that moves here belongs to me. They stay there, they work there, they die there, they live there, and so on. And it is sad, and it is for the public who are the taxpayers that must now wake up and want to know what is happening behind this high four walls.
I mean, as we heard from, just some of those students commenting that, South Africans really need to find out more answers about what is happening.